Better? Yeah. Okay. I am a West Side resident, and I also work in Austin. I work for Austin Coming Together as the engagement coordinator. So that's a little background on me, and also a little bit about Austin Coming Together. We are a collective impact organization, so we have about 65 member organizations that we help to connect resources to the Austin community. So initially, when I applied to Leadership Lab, I did it because I noticed that there's an obvious division between Austin and Oak Park and River Forest. So I thought that maybe I could help to bridge that gap. And so during this time in this class, I came to meet Rashida and Julie, and we had the same kind of idea around how to bridge that gap. So now, Julie.
Okay. So my name is Julie Lee. I'm a River Forest resident. I have been, I'm a tax partner with Grant Thornton downtown. So I spent the majority of my time volunteering in the school systems in River Forest and in the city of Chicago, and never really got the opportunity or took the opportunity to really get to know our community. So I really wanted to join Leadership Lab to learn about our community, meet others, and just really hear about the issues and the opportunities that we have here closer to home.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rashida Graham Washington, and I serve as the Executive Director for Communities First Association. It's a faith-based national organization that specializes in the multiplication of asset-based community development principles. I'm also the proud owner of Live Cafe. Many of you have been there on Oak Park Avenue, so keep coming. We love to have you. And the reason why we started Live is because we knew that there was some efforts around intentionality and equity happening between Austin and Oak Park. I was born and raised in Oak Park, in Austin. The cafe is in Oak Park, and I currently live in Berwyn. So I have a heart and passion for how these three communities can synergize through difficult conversations and relationship building and community development in order to close the gap of equity. Because of the work I do with Communities First, I've had the honor and privilege of traveling all over the world, talking to people about how they relate to one another. And because CFA is faith-based, I often do that work ecumenically. 2 months ago, I had the honor of going to Israel and Palestine and talking with leaders of the Christian faith, the Jewish faith, and the Muslim faith in an effort to better understand the inequities around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. One thing that happened that was huge and really significant is that I learned about this concept of machloket, which is a Yiddish term that basically means that we have dispute and disagreement because it puts us closer to heaven. And the way that we practice that is that in my discontent, if I had discontent with Julie, I would have to express my desire and my angle and my posture, but include her position and angle and posture in what I was communicating, and vice versa. So that was really inspirational for me in terms of how we debate and argue things, particularly even in our own local context. How frequently do we take the other position in mind, and even more so, how often do we include that position in how we think about community transformation? In the work that we shared together, we too started in one place and evolved through difficult conversations to demise that the original program or plan that we had, we were actually not ready to implement. And what turned out was something more beautiful, which is this idea that Circles can be a program or initiative that prepares us and grows us and develops us as a community to a place where we would be better prepared for difficult conversations. And so Julie's going to talk to us a little bit about the gap and the need, and Vanessa's going to share about Circles as an initiative that all of us might engage to begin to challenge ourselves and practice healthy restorative justice through the conversations we have in our communities.
So John mentioned we had 10 community topics. There were 3 that really spoke to us as it relates to equity. The first one was in December, and it centered around healthy communities. And one of our speakers was Dr. David Ansel, who's the Senior Vice President for Community Health Equity at Rush University. And he came in and spoke about these inequities from the healthcare perspective. He's got a long history, but really about the location, the access to healthcare, and the cost. And he talked about the number of health institutions in the city of Chicago, and then you don't really have a whole heck of a lot until you get to Oak Park. And there's a whole diverse universe out there, right, of folks who just don't have access. So that was our first community topic that we had talked about that really kind of highlighted, I think, some of the equity issues. The second one was in January, and it related to education and youth development. And there's a lot of dialogue, I know, in our communities about youth and how best to equalize some of the opportunities that are out there. But the one that really struck me was when we were talking about what the students believe and the number of students who feel like they don't belong. The third one is, and the school systems are all working together to address, I think, that sense of belonging. The third one was in March, and it related to the diversity of housing. And Rob Reimeyer, who was the executive director of the Oak Park Regional Housing Center, came in and talked to us about the housing center and kind of how they're trying to help folks determine where to live and find housing and so forth. And what was interesting is when we look at our community, we have a very diverse community, but it's not really integrated. So if you look at the population in Austin, for example, Austin is about 86% Black, it's 5% white. You look at Oak Park, it's 62% white, 21% Black. River Forest is 77% white, 7% Black. So we have a lot of diversity within the communities, but we're not integrated. And when you look into those individual communities to see where people live, it's not integrated even within those communities. So it just kind of highlighted some of the equity issues, and as Rob put it, some of that self-selection as it relates to the neighborhood. So it was interesting to hear how they were addressing some of the equity issues as well.
So as a engagement coordinator at ACT, I also am a circle keeper. So I'm a trained circle keeper, and basically circles are a way to help to restore balance and help to just build relationships with people and help to deal with trauma. And restorative justice came about in the Chicago area about 15 or so years ago, and it was implemented into CPS to really help with conflict resolution with students and teachers and families. So I know that there's a lot of different ways to do circles, and I know that there are plenty of people doing them in Oak Park. And I think that just the whole basis of sitting with someone on a human level and really sharing and getting to know someone and building that relationship with someone is basically what is really missing in our society. Like, I think that, you know, social media and all the different ways that we are disconnected, this is a great way to help connect each other. So we are going to hopefully implement in the next couple of months some circles in the community, and they'll be in a public environment to really engage with people in a way that probably hasn't been done before. And it really helped to get to know the people in the community, but also get to know people outside the community and help to build those relationships with people that you might not be, you know, used to being around. So, so yes, at the end. So there's some initiatives going on right now with restorative justice. So at ACT, we're a restorative justice hub. So we're one of a bunch of different hubs all over the city of Chicago. And so basically that means we're open to the community. We have events there. We're open to Oak Park, River Forest, Chicago, wherever, just to get people to really, just to, on a human level, just to relate. And so Oak Park Public Library is having a restorative justice conference on October 6th. So that is another way that maybe we can get youth involved to understand each other better.
And we didn't know about this opportunity when we started this whole idea, and I think we found out last week
Yeah.
that this was going to be published. So we thought, wow, we have a great idea, because we're doing it, right? But it's just an opportunity, it's all ages. If you're interested in learning more, it's a great place to start. Thank you.
Thanks.